Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Wednesday, November 24th at 11:37 a.m. You probably own too much shit. Yeah, we are the diversifier. When you need to be the concentrator. Never go all in, never spread too thin. You know what we've been saying the last 2 years. I see it time and time again. Look what's going on with the own forks. Look at these meme coins that are just completely useless. They'll make a couple of people very wealthy. The vast majority they'll do nothing for, because if you buy $50 worth of some shit, what's the odds? You're either really early, and if you're really early, you're not going to hold it. You know, that guy who had $3,000 worth of SHIB that would have been worth like $1 billion. Of course, that guy doesn't have the assets. Nobody holds like that. Nobody does. So, buying all that, those garbage assets, not going to get anywhere. What you need is a rigorous ideology, a rigorous story, a rigorous narrative, because that's different. We've seen the irrationality. We've seen the FOMO 2017. ICO madness, names, branding, memes. Oh, the memes. Everyone's going to buy it because it sounds so cool. Shit. In that regard, it's not different this time. The memes, even the fun stuff, like the Apex or some new fancy things. That's actually a really nice contract, Apex. I happen to like the contract significantly, but it's running on meme fuel. It's running on meme fuel. That's what I like to call it nowadays. And meme fuel is not an unlimited supply of fuel. It's not monetary velocity. It's not cash flow. People buy cash flow assets when they pay cash, and there's very few cash flow paying assets in the crypto space. You don't need many assets, in my opinion. In fact, interestingly enough, I don't think there's many solid long-term opportunities in the crypto space, hence my portfolio. My portfolio is an expression not just of what I think is the best assets. I think these are the only long-term assets that are going to survive or survive reasonably a very strong depreciative impulse. The market will get hammered at some point. It's inevitable. Guaranteed. You'll see 50, 60, 70, 80% drawdowns across the board. 90 plus percent of it will hit that 80% drawdown and it'll never come back. So, what'll come back? What'll retain value is stuff that is infrastructure, stuff that has contributes to positive monetary velocity, stuff that creates cash flow and pays users to hold its asset, stuff that facilitates money market, forex, debt market functionality. That's the deal. So I just caught Enoch talking about Blizz. I'll get over to the comments in a second. So Blizz is straight out of left field. I said it in a comment. I don't like talking like that in Twitter comments because that encourages activity, encourages people to take action. But it's a truthful statement. It's out of left field with regard to cash flow. It's producing better cash flow than Curve at the moment. It's like multiples more, like 3, 4, 5x the amount of cash flow. We're talking about cash flow, dollars. DAI on Geist. DAI is paying more than Curve at this point. It's probably because it's early, and I think it gets diluted, gets the shit diluted out of it. And actually the protocol owned liquidity is new and novel. It's a big deal. We don't know how it's all going to play out. It's big. It's big that protocols are owning their own assets. Ohm and Ohm forks are another story, but the concept that protocols are building treasuries and this is some big stuff, guys. That's going to suck up circulating supply. Those are new buyers in the market, and those buyers have cash flow. And those buyers are buying very specific assets that produce crypto cash flow because cash flow pays. And that's the assets we're looking at. We're looking at the assets that pay. So are the protocols, because the protocols want to get paid. Let's pop it over to the main screen. Let's look at some comments. But generally, you guys own probably too many assets. And I'm trying to avoid the meme coins. I get suckered in every now and then and try and restrain myself. I do the best I can, but I've been good. I've been good this cycle. Frankly, the meme coins, I bought a little bit from cash flow, so I don't even account for it in my balance, my portfolio balance. I barely have any debt. I think I have like 160 grand worth of debt, which is like a fraction of a. That's like a percent of the portfolio, 1%. So I don't even have like a 10% loan to value ratio. I'm like 98% over collateralized, and in assets that are just still up like 20x. Same portfolio. Nothing's changed with the core portfolio, guys. Curve spell, popsicle fracs, rent still up there, and a convex position. I took a convex position a little bit ago. It's still up about 100%. Um, I'll give you the percentages real quick. Curve's at 40. Curve popped off back above $5. So Curve went back above my spell position. Um, so this wick right now, this is actually a big deal. If you haven't noticed, guys, um, this line right here is a previous resistance, and it failed that previous resistance. Actually, here it literally held it. It held it as resistance. This is so fascinating. Look at this. Look at the line. So this line starts here. This is a previous resistance. But let's zoom in over here for a second. And look at the behavior against this previous resistance. It literally hit it as resistance right here. Do you see that? It's just fascinating how a price point encourages behavior, psychological behavior, to spread throughout a group of people. I mean, just look at that. That's a wick with a price point that smacked right into it. That's straight up fascinating to see. All those months and months later, guys. Months and months later. But now, look at this wick. Whoa! Oh, that's a glorious wick because look at this price action here. It was being pushed down. So you had wicks above, wicks above, wicks above, and people were dumping, dumping, dumping. So that it couldn't get up because there were still people that were in earlier that thought that this price point was high. So they were exiting their position. This, I'll highlight it, well, where we are right now is extremely different price activity as compared to here. I mean, that just tells a completely different story. Extraordinary different story. This is crazy. This is a up from here. This is weakness. We hoped it would go up and continue the breakout and get past the next green line, that's like price discovery zone if it gets above there, when it gets above there, if it gets above there. But this story right here, this isn't a story of, oh, is it going to keep going? This is a story of strength right now. These two candles over the last 2 days, that's a story of strength. And if you look at the weekly, I mean, this, so on the weekly, it's not, clearly that's a massive green candle we got right now, but this whole region becomes the region of inspection. On the daily, you have two regions of inspection above this green line, I would say. But on the weekly, it's just the whole area is the region of inspection, and it looks extremely strong. That's just a ridiculous, ridiculous price action considering history. In fact, this weekly candle is the largest candle in the entire history of Curve. Wow. Well, the largest solid candle body. Let's take a look at how big it is. solid candle body is that's a 36% candle body. Well, people question where we are in the markets. They're looking at the price of Bitcoin and stuff, but man, I think these assets operate in their own market in many regards. So they're all related. So there's an overall tone to the total market. But I mean, Curve's paving its own path. This is a ridiculous chart, guys. If you don't look at this chart and see the story it tells, you literally see just like events, historic events. It's quite breathtaking, actually. Anyway, I want to look at the spell chart too. Um, I hit on opening monologue good. I don't really have any other thoughts. Curve looks ridiculous. Spell. Let's look at the chart real quick, and then I'll hit your commentary, guys. So spell is significantly off its highs. I haven't touched a single spell, 60% off its highs. But I don't have to do anything because my price point, my entry was down here. So I bought the bottom. I could just sit back and I'm down. I'm down, but I'm up. I'm up like 15x still. So this chart looks good in my opinion. Had a significant asymmetric appreciation to the upside. It's down 60% off its highs. The 10 SMA didn't hold. TWAP. The TWAP on the weekly is green. It's very green. So this is still a bullish chart. It just got significantly deviated from the average. If that's the best way to describe it. It's above the 100 SMA on the daily, so there is a moving average in the mix. Moving averages aren't really that relevant because it's still such a new asset. People talk about it like, oh, it's starting, it's over. No, this is a brand new asset. This literally was launched earlier this year. But look at this price action. This is actually a fascinating price point if you think about it. Well, not even if you think about it, if you look at it. So here we go. Let's put that right there. Look at that, boys and girls. Look at that. That is a previous support. This is actually a good line to look at. And look, it's kind of wicking there. How about that? And that looks like that line goes down a little bit. So let's check it out. Let's go down. Let's go up. Let's boop. So right now it is above previous support. So we hit support back on October 21st. It's November 24th. Significant moving average deviation, aberration to the upside, which is nice. It's not so fun when it's to the downside. We have this is a double bottom on the 4-hour. This is a double bottom on the 4-hour, hitting a previous support. So the support has held. This looks good. The moving averages look horrible at this point. We got bearish crosses all over the place. Let's look at the shorter time frame if there's anything interesting in the data. I mean, that's a pretty nice double bottom. If it bounces upward off that and we get above a moving average and we start to have confluence suggesting like a secondary positive piece of information, because right now it's a nice line. It still needs to hold. It's right on the line. But if you break to a higher high, like dare we get back to like 18, 19, 20, that's a heck of a double bottom. Damn. Let's look at some comments. Dan's in the house, a pleasure. Jonathan Chen, catching up on the Geist Blizz cash flow machine. What's your next Blizz entry point? I don't know. I bought my positions. I bought my Blizz position at $1. I usually take my positions and then I just let it sit. So I'm up like 130% on that position. I think it's just a money printer. Let's take a look at it and see what it's doing. Blizz. I bought what I get. See, I only got 69,000 because it was at $1, but I was able to buy significantly more Geist. Damn, $2.41. Woo! Wow, heck of a price point. Printing 6 grand a day. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look what Geist is doing. Geist, Phantom. Wow, 68 cents. Wow. So I bought significantly more Geist because it was cheaper. I bought at 47 cents. Wow. So, I mean, Geist and Blizz, productive assets thus far. Let's take a look at the market. So, market size is down. People are pulling capital. Yield is incentivized returns are still there, so it's still inflation. I'm surprised. I'm surprised the price action has been bouncing. I'm surprised it didn't go down further with the amount. I guess it's being diluted. It's not larger and larger actors getting more and more of the rewards. It's more and more participants getting a smaller reward. So they're not liquidating. So like a mega farm, Alameda comes in, starts just dumping. It's not dumping. So this is indicative of a diversified set of participants, or the diversification of the participants away from a single or concentrated set of entities, farm dumping, to diversified set of entities getting lower rates of return. So you get 25% of your money. You're probably not dumping it if you got like 100 grand in a position, or even lower, 10 grand in a position, 25% on a yearly basis. You're probably not farm dumping your Geist. You're probably getting your Geist and collecting it because you like the couple 100% return. So this is a very interesting situation where there's a high emissions asset, and in many regards a hyperinflationary asset that's going up in price, which is very indicative that it's not being farmed. Huh. Very interesting. And Blizz is going up much more. I think the PODL, protocol and DEX liquidity, is having an impact. That's pretty cool to see them on 153 grand worth of DEX liquidity. But this has significantly more volume. I mean, it is Avalanche. The FOMO and the hype is there right about now. But I expect that to head over to Phantom at some point. Yeah, my opinion of Geist and Blizz is heading up from a tokenomics standpoint. I'm curious how Aave V3 plays into the dynamics of the situation. I mean, clearly there's nothing profitable about an Aave position. It goes up. You literally buy it because you want to have governance and you want to own it. So, you're only really doing that if you're like have 100 mil and you want a mil of Aave to own something. But it's not valuable. It's not profitable because when you're going to buy Aave to have governance rights just to sell it? No, so there's no reason to hold it other than governance rights. So it's not paying you. It's not a cash flow asset. But these are. So these are cash flow assets, and they're appreciating. Very interesting. Would I take a position now? I don't know. I'm very happy I took a position 20 cents ago on Geist and $1 on Blizz. I didn't fully see what was going on with the assets when I took the position, but I'm gaining a clearer picture. They're very productive, and I don't fully understand how they play into Aave V3 situation or scenario that's going to happen. I mean, I guess there's plenty of room for money markets, but what's the reason to use one over the other? That is always the question. And what happens when the incentives run dry? I mean, right now, a lot of the yield is probably because of folding. 3.4. Market size is up significantly, and the yield is still huge on borrowed AVAX. But also the APY is, that's why, look at the APY. This is fascinating. Look at the numbers here. You are paying 71% to borrow Avalanche, but you're getting paid 135%. That is massive. So if you fold it, you're paying 50%, 50% to borrow, and you're getting paid 150%. You're paying 50%, so you're getting a net spread of 100% APR to participate and fold just literally AVAX. Wow. Big numbers, boys and girls. Enoch's in the house. A pleasure. Food Bear sended. Paul. Martin. We made it for the live stream. It's a pleasure. James Miller made it on time. Happy Turkey Day. Sir Joe's in the house. Booster, good morning, Captain. Looks like the current market favors GameFi, Forks, while most DeFi except Curve are being severely sold off. Look at Aave, Sushi, and Spell. Yeah, Aave's not on my radar as an asset. Sushi's not on my radar as an asset. Um, Spell's the second largest asset in my portfolio, just as you guys know, because I bought it so damn early. Wow, the price point on Curve. If this gets a I would love to see a breakout. That'd be a nice Thanksgiving Day special. And I would love to see Spell hold this region. I would love to see Spell hold this price region right here. I have no intention whatsoever of selling. This is the asset. This is the correct choice of an asset. So the question becomes entry price, time horizon, and any short-term opportunity. Meaning, if this price point fails, you could easily find support on the 100 SMA on the daily. And you'll find support down here at 0.004 on the penny, which will be a massive hit. You're talking about like another 70, 80% to the downside, in which case it might be short-term optimal to liquidate to rebuy. You'll be able to own more. So this isn't an asset. Should you own? The question is at what price point, and is there a short-term capitalistic opportunity to sell high and buy low? Personally, I have no time to do any of that shit, and if it goes up, I want to be in, and I don't need to get down here. I'm not greedy. If I sell now, knowing it could potentially go down here, that's greedy because I'd be selling it because I want more of it. Because if it goes down here, down to 0.004, I own it cheaper. I own it down here at 0.0006. So I don't need to do anything. This is my strategy. I have absolutely no need to do anything whatsoever between now and if it goes lower. And that is a refreshing perspective. None of this is mine. This is all unrealized capital gains from here up. That's all. I never had it in the first place. So you have to think about that for a second with regard to how to view the value in a portfolio. It's none of mine in the first place, and I don't expect it to go down. Was it going to go down to negative territory? Or was it going to go down lower than the price point I bought it at? No. Is the asset the wrong asset? Is the function wrong? Is it decreasing in strength? Is it decreasing in consumption? Is it not heading in the right direction with regard to its functionality and role it plays in the crypto space? No. The narrative hasn't changed. So what you have here is short-term considerations to potentially have larger ownership or less. And me, I choose to do nothing. I'm really looking forward to Merlin candles being converted to MIM payouts, and really the structure of it converted to a productive asset that just pays you cash instead of buybacks. I think I think that's you know this is a good reason uh, this dashboard, this dashboard presentation is a good reason it's behaving like it is. Because people see very explicitly that it's a productive asset. It is paying X amount of dollars on a daily, on a weekly, for X amount of deposit. That is an extraordinarily unique presentation for the crypto space. This is even more unique than Curve, than Convex. That's actually quite interesting. So I try and avoid getting, you know, I don't want to get excited because these are new assets, and I, I don't trust first. Trust has to be earned in the crypto space, but I'm seeing signs that man, this presentation is unique. There is no other DeFi presentation that does this. Price points going up. The arguments I made about diversified liquidity providing it's not being farm dumped. So it's smaller actors that are getting their 50%, their 100% return, and they want the Blizz or they want the Geist for purposes of becoming an incumer. Very different trajectory as compared to Curve. So this is hyperinflationary, the amount of emissions. Curve was hyperinflationary, but it got farm dumped. Everything got farm dumped. Convex got farm dumped. These are not getting farm dumped. Or they did, or they I think if you look at the charts, it's a very short period of hyperinflation. And stabilization occurred very quickly, relatively speaking, relative to Curve. This took a while, and this was painful for a lot of folks for stabilization to occur after this hyperinflationary period. But the hyperinflation for Blizz and Geist thus far have been relatively painless. Let me try and keep up. I think Blizz has a better design. Their equivalent design, there's no difference. It's actually the same exact implementation. Booster, Morning Captain, looking at the current market favors GameFi. Yeah, I hit that. Do I think DeFi will rotate back? I think it never rotated away. Alpha Bayan, love to see you again. It's a pleasure. Mix. Nick, incomers unite. The other day you talked about taking out loans on unrealized gains. If we were all incomers and we all realized the gains as income, can you explain how this works? Well, let's put it this way: if you bought $100,000 worth of Curve, locked it as CVXCRV, and it turns into $20 million worth of CVXCRV, and Abracadabra adds it to their portal, you have $20 million worth of unrealized capital gains. You'll never pay taxes on it unless you sell it. And all right, take $1 million loan. So you got $1 million. You didn't pay any taxes on it. That's the way it works. You can take loans against unrealized capital gains. There's no taxes on it. That's why all the wealthy stay wealthy. I hope that helps. Ding ding. Good morning. No, what's up? What's your view on the ZK rollup Immutable X? I'm pissed at the SEC over Immutable X. I have a very large Gods Unchained collection, and I got no IMX, no Gods, no drops, no nothing at all. I think it's a big deal. I think the next couple of years is going to be freaking awesome. Gods Unchained is freaking awesome, dude. That's the deal, ding ding. Larry M, let's go. Don't take loans on your income. Take them on your long-term asset holds. That's correct. Larry M's in the house. Lewis is in the house. A pleasure. You've been here for 2 years, my friend. Never once gave me investment advice, but he didn't need to because he honed my ability to make successful decisions. 3 positions. It's the way to do it. Concentration. Curve is 42.82% of the portfolio. Spell is 32.58. I've bought and sold neither. They've flipped themselves. Look at this chart on Curve. This is ridiculous. And look, at one point, Spell was a ridiculous chart, and it'll be back. I want this to hold, and it's going to have its day. And Spell and Curve are going to be fighting each other for top spot in the portfolio, baby. Popsicle's still hanging in there at $20. It was up to $60. I don't give a crap. I bought it at $3. So I'm just sitting pretty. And I know where it's heading and I know it's the right asset to have. And it was a relatively small position in the portfolio that's became number three. So it is important for folks to know that if you purchase these quantity of assets or quantities of these assets, curve, spell, popsicle, in order to make it number one, number two, number three, you're probably making a mistake. Um, you want 1% of the portfolio to become 10%. You want the vast majority of the portfolio to be stable. The only reason I have three volatile assets as the top size positions in the portfolio is because I bought them so cheap and I've been in the game for as long as I have. But if I was playing this market as I am now, not as I was in 2020, because I was much more degenerate in 2020, but if I was playing this market as I am now, the vast majority of the portfolio would be heavily concentrated probably in, I don't know, in curve, but you want the least risk with the largest part of the portfolio, in my opinion. It's hard to craft a portfolio. Anyway, I don't want to dig too much into that. Gets subjective in many regards, and maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but I just wanted to highlight that my current portfolio balance may not be the optimal thing for anyone to do for a variety of reasons that we talk about and some that we don't talk about. Frax is sitting at 6.18% of the portfolio, Ren 3.54, Convex 3.12, Cosmos 1.93. Keeper's up there now. Keeper ripped a bunch. I bought that at like $300. It's at 1200, 0.93%. Polkadot's still on there, 0.59%. Holding on to a Bancorp position of $4. I think I bought it at like 40 cents, 0.44%. That's about it. Nothing else worth mentioning. Let's head back over. Um, Ample putting out them yields again, Crypto Henry. Yeah, well, my hypothesis was invalidated. Maybe it hasn't been fully invalidated, and that's okay. I took like a $50,000-$70,000 haircut on that position playing around, and maybe I prematurely thought my hypothesis was invalidated, but that's okay. That's okay, boys and girls. If Ample shows utilization during periods of negative rebase, then technically my hypothesis has become validated. That'd be a big deal. Um, Let me know if you're seeing like 100%. If you're seeing anything greater than 50% utilization at less than $1 for Ample, do me a favor and ping me because I'm just not looking at it right now. But then that's quite interesting because 50% utilization means 50% less exposure to a negative rebase. And the whole point of Ample is that you want more exposure to positive rebase than negative. You're not growing the price point. The price point's irrelevant. What you want is to see the market cap going up. So for the market cap going up, you want more exposure to positive rebase than negative rebase. So then greater than $1, positive rebase, positive rebase, positive rebase, less than $1, 50% utilization, you're getting covered against 50% of your negative rebase. Oh, that means you're going to have more exposure to positive rebase than negative rebase. Your position's going to be growing. And that potentially creates a new way to play the asset as compared to historically folks have played it. A more passive approach than active approach, and that's what I'm looking for. James, have you heard of Celsius X being developed by Celsius? Still early. Yeah, it's just off my radar. I don't need any of those centralized services, my friend. Maybe an Aave and Auto money market or whatever the hell they want to put together. They have big problems with regard to centralization and regulation. They probably want to get away from regulatory threats, and who knows what they have in mind. They sure as hell have the capital to figure it out, though. So good on them. They were very early. They've been doing this for years, and it'd be very unfortunate if regulation stifles their efforts. I don't think they will, though. I think they have too much momentum. Dan, do you plan on increasing your exposure to Blizz? No, I have no need nor interest to increase my exposure. It's a very productive asset. I got folks, friends that are cranking out like 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a day. I'm satisfied. Play your hand, boys. 241, that's a crazy price point. So I don't feel much FOMO or jealousy for other folks making 30 grand a day. I find it interesting, and I'm happy and proud for them, and it's very nice that I get to talk to folks like that. And it doesn't mean my position is bad at all. And I know most people aren't producing this. I know a lot of people listening to me right now are probably cranking out maybe $100 a day, $200 a day, a fraction of my position. So don't feel bad. There's people, and it's hard to say that because I know you might feel it, but I know I have colleagues that are producing 10 times as much as me. So I could potentially feel that way, but I don't. Play your own hand. It's what I've talked about, and I'll remind folks to do that every now and then. You play your own hand, and that's how you'll do the best for you, if you play your own hand. Do you ever get rid of a position that has lost a lot of value from dropping token price? Yes. Sell the losers, buy the winners. Love your content. And now in the Discord, thank you. No, you're welcome, Lighthouse. It's a pleasure. Are you concerned about decrease in platform fee over time for Geist and Blizz? Yes, I am. If the metrics, if the capital flow, if the situation changes, you adjust. If it's no longer a viable position, you adjust. If opportunity cost emerges, you adjust. You liquidate a position. Um, so, Jonathan, you sell the losers, you buy the winners. If there's any reason to sell it, you sell it. But right now, I think things look good, and I'm going to accumulate a cash position, so I have some optionality. I wouldn't mind accumulating like 100 chip or 200 grand, which sounds like a lot. It is a lot, and I appreciate that it is a lot. But that's what I'm going to do. You selling or compounding your bliss? Selling. I want to accumulate a cash position. Luke, you going to tell these fine folks about your the Gen Ape yesterday? No, I am not. I do not want to encourage anyone to do anything that I would do. I always say that. I've been saying that since I was a kid. When I leave a group of people, like, don't do anything I would do. I don't really do anything that people shouldn't do anymore, but I'm not going to tell folks uh, what Catter. I'm going to sell that thing in 5 seconds. I have no interest in holding it. Yeah, that's some shit that people that have no idea what they're doing are buying. 10, 15, $20. They have no idea what they're doing. It's straight up degenerate. And I don't. Half the reason I want to sell it, I don't care if I bought like 40 grand worth, and it could be worth 40 million. I don't care. I want to get rid of it in some regards. Maybe make 100%, 200%, because it's quite uh ex ex um exploitive. Meaning I'm taking advantage of all those $50, $100, $1,000 buyers because they don't know what they're doing. They're buying something they think is big. And maybe it is big, and maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I mean, that's what folks that bought SHIB probably thought. They bought $1,000 worth of SHIB that could have been worth $50 million. Stranger things have happened. This has been a very strange year, hasn't it? Um, so yes, that's what happened yesterday, Luca. Blizz or Geist, Professor J. Well, if you had to choose one of the two, I'm not going to give you the answer because capital could flow directly over to Phantom, and Avalanche could uh, start to peter out. So it's not for me to say one or the other. Foo Bear, dude, Hatter is a scam coin. Not thus far. Prints a fair amount of time. Um, I don't trust it. I don't trust it though. Wonderland, their app. Prints a fair amount of time, so I got like zero point 0.7 time thus far, zero point 0.7 and change. I'd like to get up to a couple of time. That'd be nice, but I don't know. I've been watching the. Wow, look at that price action. I'm surprised. Very interesting. I do, for the love of God, don't buy this shit, guys. You're not going to do well. You're going to buy it high and sell it low. It's going to be extremely volatile. Someone like me with like, I'll show you guys. I think I'm not going to show you my address and dox myself. Point being, I'm like top 50. So don't buy this shit, guys, because I'm going to sell it at an opportune time, and the price is going to go way down. Don't expose yourself to that. Focus on the good stuff that I talk about, not the degenerate stuff that I'm dabbling with at the moment. You guys may notice my hesitation even talking about this shit. A little bit more than Luca. Uh, Andre, hey Noah, I have way too much money in crypto right now. Would you put everything on a stable LP and invest in other coins while incoming? I don't know how to answer that, my friend. And why do you have too much? Where does it belong? What does the opportunity cost analysis say? Do you want to put it in REITs and bonds? You can buy U.S. Treasuries. Where does it belong? Cash under a mattress? Cash in a bank account? Not easy questions, my friend. Chilled and baked, man. You should put the recordings in podcast format. You'd kill it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I like that. Kill this in the house. I wouldn't mind doing Twitter Spaces. Wouldn't mind doing Twitter Spaces. I could just chill in a Twitter space and just talk, talk, talk. Pretty good, pretty good. Not a bad idea. And Bassard, I think since that the only liquidity for Geist is Geist FTM. The price of Geist is highly correlated to the price of FTM. Oh, yes, amongst other considerations. Have you looked into DeFi chain? Have not. Joe, why don't you use auto compounders? I do use auto compounders when appropriate, and I wish. What did I wish had an auto compounder the other day? I don't know. At this point, I guess I'm farm dumping Geist and Blizz, but it goes up in price. That's good. It's nice that the market is absorbing it. It's not like it's the largest. It's a relatively small position. I know folks with about 800, 900 grand in their Blizz position. This is extraordinary. It's just a dirty number. Well, absolutely naughty. Ravi, do you restake your Blizz? No, I'm cashing out. I want some cash. P. Emmanuel, after my father died, she saw. Yes, I know your story, my friend. Mom needs a prayer, guys. P's got a tough situation with mom, and it's a very rough world. And it's not a fair world, and it's not easy to tell stories. And P is a very well spoken, in my opinion. So, and I I'm a decent judge of character. So, if anyone has capacity, throw around a couple of bucks. I think P is seems like it's it's important to help people, and it's not. And I'll let people make their own choices of whom they want to help and when. It's not for me to say, but P, I wish you the best, and I hope everything goes well for you. I do. Adam, hey Noah, reckon that Geist APR could reach similar levels as Blizz if the hype moves to Phantom? Yeah, I do, Adam. Alex, evening Noah, do you have any thoughts on Ohm Forks? Yeah, don't waste your time, in my opinion. I'm more interested in the effect they'll have on the market. They're basically the treasury, so they're going to be disrupting circulating supply, and they're going to be price appreciative for the market as a whole. We know that Ohm Forks are eventually going to start rugging, um, albeit the concept is what I'm most interested in. The concept of the Ohm Fork is extraordinary. It's a treasury. It's either a corporate treasury or a corporate balance sheet or a decentralized treasury. And that's the way I'm thinking about it. If it's a corporate balance sheet, it's a centralized group of people, one, two, three, four people. It's not a decentralized implementation, and they're making decisions like a board of how to deploy their treasury assets to generate cash flow, to do different things, so on and so forth. I think I think we're just starting to see the Ohm forks. And I actually think the Ohm fork is going to be somewhat of a business model and may emerge in the coming years into like a playbook for venture capital or not even VC or a way to capitalize a company. crowdsource, crowdfund, stuff like that. This shit is fascinating, and I think we're seeing them as forks right now because that's historically what we've seen them as. But they're just going to suck in capital, and all it takes is a team and a name and a meme and a story and a narrative, and the capital flows in, and all of a sudden, a company accumulates 40 mil, and you can start a business with 40 mil, run an entire enterprise. 10% of 40 mil, making 40 mil a year. Woo! 4 mil a year. Sorry, 10% of 40 mil. You run a business. Absolutely fascinating. Price action of popsicle. Well, it's been getting hammered. It was at $60. Now it's down to 20. I'm just sitting in it. What do you think about SB? I don't know. What was that? Snowbridge? I don't have many thoughts about it. If you own treasury tokens that are backed by multiple assets, is that considered exposure to multiple assets? No, it is not. Have you ever heard about Angle? I have not. Frank Corp's in the house. Pleasure. Munir, where do you see the FTM Eco going in a roll-up world? Uh, Parallel? Alongside for the ride, baby. That's what I see. JPEG thoughts. Thanks for the stream, Noah. JPEG as in NFTs? Watch your gambling, boys and girls. More lobby. Have some dry powder for this pullback. It's better to earn 40% of stables or deploy capital into interest earning assets that are volatile like Curve. It's your choice. Subjective. DeFi chain has tokenized stocks, yet completely not interested in that. There's been so many Dencoin releases on Avex the past couple of days. Yeah, just a waste of time. Don't waste your time. And we go back to the original point of this stream: is don't waste your time on being excessively diversified into degen garbage that's going to get you nowhere. It's the perfect way to have a portfolio that goes nowhere or just completely self-destructs. So don't screw yourselves. The market has great assets and don't need many of them. And you have to focus more on time horizon and patience and conviction in real assets, not the bullshit that some schmuck made after lunch on a Thursday. 100% interested in podcast idea, Twitter Spaces, right, man? Professor J, my man, is Geist only AMM on Phantom? Is it? Ave's not on Phantom. Ave's on Avalanche, though. That's interesting, I think. Oh, no. What is it? Isn't it Benke? No, Benke's on an Avalanche. There is what? The Spooky Swap. Spirit. Spirit has lending. Is lend and borrow. Yeah. Ola Finance. Here's the AMM. That's right. Harshal. I just remembered. So Spirit does have a little something. Uh, Probably Live. Probably there's a Guys 4 coming to Harmony soon. Everything will go to Harmony eventually. Um, Curve looking parabolic. Let's take a look real quick. We're going to wrap up the stream in a couple minutes. Wow. Wow. 540. What the heck is going on today? Come on, baby. Break this wick. Break 570. Get into some price discovery. That's what I'd like to see. 0x, your large spell and ice positions. Yes, ice is staked on Popsicle and spell is staked on Abracadabra. That's spell. Adam, with ohm forks, they are kind of like DAOs with set rules to accumulate certain assets into a treasury. I'm looking at setting up a company to manage assets, but maybe it should be a DAO. Yeah, it should be a DAO. And if you could decentralize it, you're basically bypassing regulation, which is very interesting. And you can get to sophisticated, complicated situations, which you'll need attorneys and accountants. But theoretically, you could structure yourself to be compliant yet not compliant. They don't have regulation for any of this stuff. They don't even know what they're doing. It's going to take them years to get their elbow or their arm out of their ass, up their elbow deep at this point. They're so far behind. One up to Tarot. Was it Tarot Finance? Yes, that's a good point on Phantom. That's right, one up. Adam would like Twitter Spaces. Not a bad idea. No economics, baby, Greg says. Noanomics. Noah prefers JPEGs more than my own forks. A sad day. Uh, I want to avoid both. I want to avoid any type of FOMO. I haven't bought a damn NFT in like months at this point. So I would like to avoid both. When do you think Harmony will be ready? No idea. We will know it's ready when there's an AMM or a money market or a debt system. Frankly, the best. Here's the thing, guys. And I'm going to end on this note. The best assets aren't platforms, but they're protocols that go across all platforms. Curve, Spell, Abracadabra, Popsicle. These things go across all the platforms. So that's where I want to concentrate my capital, not in Aave, not in Solana, not in Ethereum. I want to have assets that go across all the damn platforms. So I don't have to own all the platforms. And I can have a concentrated set of portfolio assets, concentrated set of positions that covers the spectrum of all platforms. That's the deal. 108 people in the stream, 35 likes. We can do a little bit better. Wednesday, November 24th at 12:28 p.m. As always, thank you all for joining me. Tell everybody to subscribe. After party on Discord. I'm going to hit up the Aspids in a little bit and get up to speed. I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let's see if I have a little bit of time on Friday. I'll do another stream. I'm going to look into those Twitter spaces. That's a good idea. But I wish you all a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. You have a good one now. Peace.